My boyfriend lost a dare, and the bet was that I had to kiss his brother on the spot. He didn't even ask if I was okay with it. He just laughed and told his brother, Raphael, "It's all my fault. I put you in a tough spot." I looked coldly at my boyfriend of 3 years. I had clearly told him multiple times that his brother had ulterior motives toward me. What are you thinking? Raphael comes from a wealthy family. He wouldn't be interested in someone like you. Don't flatter yourself. What are you compared to him? Why would he ever look at you? Clearly, he was willfully blind, not noticing how his brother was staring at me like a hungry wolf all night. I clicked my tongue in front of my boyfriend and boldly sat on Raphael's lap, kissing him. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my boyfriend casually chatting with other friends. After the party ended, I received a message from Raphael saying, "That was my first kiss. You have to take responsibility." I looked coldly at Gabriel, my anger boiling inside me. He had the audacity to make me kiss his brother for a stupid dare. What was even more ridiculous was that he didn't even ask for my opinion, treating me like some object to be used. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress my anger and disappointment. Since the start of the party, Raphael's gaze had been like that of a wolf fixed on me, making me feel sick. Yet Gabriel remained oblivious, still laughing and joking with others. I gritted my teeth, deciding it was time to teach him a lesson. Without hesitation, I sat on Raphael's lap and stared into his eyes. The surrounding cheers seemed to be muted, everything becoming a blur. I closed my eyes and initiated the kiss, pressing my lips to Raphael's. The moment our tongues touched, I felt Raphael tremble noticeably. 5 minutes felt like a century, and I forced myself to continue the kiss despite my discomfort. Finally, when the time was up, I pushed Raphael away and stood up. I looked around. Everyone was staring at me in shock. While Gabriel was still chatting with friends, I let out a cold laugh and turned to leave that suffocating room. I heard someone teasing Gabriel behind me as I stepped out the door. "Gabriel, aren't you mad that your girlfriend kissed someone else? What's there to be angry about?" "It wasn't real," Gabriel replied dismissively. My heart dropped, and I quickened my pace to escape that toxic place. Once home, I locked myself in my room, ignoring Gabriel's persistent knocking. My phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. I opened it and instantly felt a chill run down my spine. That was my first kiss. "You have to take responsibility." I decided not to reply to Raphael's message and to handle the situation coldly. But days passed, and Gabriel still showed no signs of remorse. My heart felt heavy, like a massive stone pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Finally, on the 5th night, Gabriel showed up at my door with bubble tea. "I'm sorry. I didn't expect things to turn out this way," he said, handing me the bubble tea in a casual tone. I reluctantly took it, but my resentment hadn't faded at all. I pulled out my phone and showed Gabriel the message from Raphael. "I told you before that he had ulterior motives towards me." Gabriel frowned and said, "You're not on the same level as him. Stop flattering yourself. He probably just continued the dare after you left. There's no way he'd be interested in you." Those words cut through me like a knife. I felt dizzy, completely let down by Gabriel's disrespect. We began to argue fiercely, the sweetness of our relationship fracturing. In the heat of our argument, I suddenly recalled Raphael's wolf-like gaze. I stood at the entrance of the amusement park, feeling disappointed and angry. Gabriel bailed on me again. It wasn't the first time. I took a deep breath and decided to go in alone and have fun. As soon as I entered, I saw a familiar figure. Raphael was standing not far away, waving and smiling at me. "Gabriel asked me to hang out with you. Something came up last minute, and he couldn't make it," Raphael explained. A wave of bitterness hit me. Gabriel couldn't even bother explaining it himself. But looking at Raphael's sunny smile, my mood instantly lifted. We rode the roller coaster together. Amidst all the screams, I felt a long-lost sense of joy. Raphael thoughtfully bought me cotton candy, and the sugary sweetness filled my mouth. We chatted about work and life, and the atmosphere was surprisingly pleasant. Without realizing it, I found myself glancing at Raphael's profile. In the sunlight, his features looked especially handsome. Suddenly, I remembered that kiss from the other day, and my heart started racing. Raphael seemed to notice my gaze and turned a smile at me. In that moment, it felt like I was falling into a warm dream. We rode the Ferris wheel together, taking in the beautiful view of the amusement park from above. As the sun set, Raphael gently took my hand. I didn't pull away, letting the warmth spread through me. After the Ferris wheel, Raphael suggested we explore the haunted house. In the darkness, I instinctively moved closer to him, feeling his body heat. As we walked out of the haunted house, we shared a smile, as if we had just gone through an adventure together. On the way home, I realized I had completely forgotten about Gabriel. Raphael walked me to my door, hesitated for a moment, and gently kissed my cheek. I stood there watching him walk away, a sweet feeling rising in my heart. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Gabriel. I stared at the screen. Gabriel's message left me with mixed emotions.
Sorry.
A friend from abroad returned unexpectedly, and I just couldn't get away. I let out a cold laugh. I was so tired of hearing excuses like this. I couldn't shake Raphael's kindness from my mind. It was such a sharp contrast to Gabriel. I hesitated about whether to tell Gabriel about today. In the end, I chose to stay silent. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from Raphael. Did you have fun today? I hope I didn't let you down. Looking at the message, I couldn't help but smile. I quickly replied, I had a great time. Thank you for hanging out with me. Raphael responded almost instantly. My pleasure. I'd love to hang out with you again. My heart raced suddenly, and a strange feeling spread through my chest. I knew this wasn't right, but I just couldn't stop myself. Over the next few days, Raphael frequently reached out to me, sending sweet messages every day. Meanwhile, Gabriel seemed to be slowly fading into a distant corner of my memory. I knew I was sliding toward a dangerous edge, but I couldn't help it. Every word Raphael said was like a shot of adrenaline, pulling me deeper into this. I started fantasizing about what life would be like if I were with Raphael. However, just as I was lost in these sweet thoughts, Raphael suddenly sent me a message. It was a picture of Gabriel holding another girl, comforting her. I stared at my phone screen, my heart feeling like it was tightly gripped by an invisible hand. In the photo, Gabriel was holding an unfamiliar girl's shoulders, gently comforting her. My mind went blank in an instant, and all my trust collapsed in that moment. What's going on? I trembled as I typed a message to Raphael. Raphael replied quickly, I'm not sure either. I just saw it when I was passing by Gabriel's house today. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down, and decided to go directly to Gabriel to ask for an explanation. Pushing open Gabriel's door, I saw the girl sitting on the sofa, crying while Gabriel was busy in the kitchen. Who is she? I struggled to control my tone, trying not to let my anger and jealousy spill over. Gabriel turned around, a flicker of panic crossing his face. Ashley, what are you doing here? This is my friend from school. She just got back from abroad. I scoffed. A friend? Is that why you were holding her so closely? To comfort her? Is that why you didn't go to the amusement park that day? Gabriel's expression turned slightly annoyed. What are you thinking? It's because her pet is sick and in the hospital. I was just comforting her, he defended. And the other day when her pipe burst, I was just helping her, he added. Suddenly, I remembered that over the years, I had always handled any plumbing issues at home myself. So you can fix pipes? I said sarcastically. I've never seen you lift a finger all these years. Gabriel's face darkened instantly. What exactly are you trying to say? Is there something wrong with helping a friend? I felt dizzy as all my doubts and insecurities erupted in that moment. This is a huge problem, I nearly shouted. You've kept so much from me, and you expect me to trust you? Gabriel's demeanor suddenly turned cold. Believe it or not, I don't owe you any explanations. I turned to leave, tears blurring my vision, filled with grievance and anger. Back home, I curled up on the sofa, replaying the scenes from earlier in my mind. My phone vibrated. Raphael's message read, Are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to? I stared at the screen, suddenly struck by a bold idea. Maybe it was time to teach Gabriel a lesson. I focused on the phone screen, my finger trembling as I hit send. "Raphael, I want to see you." Almost instantly, Raphael replied, "Sure. I'll be right there." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the turmoil inside me. Less than half an hour later, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to see Raphael's concerned gaze. "What happened?" he asked softly, worry evident in his eyes. I couldn't help but jump into his arms, tears streaming down my face. Raphael gently patted my back, reassuring me, "It's okay. I'm here." I looked up at his gentle eyes, a sudden impulse surging within me. We were kissing intensely. His hands gently caressed my body. My body shivered. A warmth slowly began to build inside me. Our tongues entwined. I felt a hardness against my back. Raphael's hands slowly slid down my body. The hardness filled me. The door suddenly swung open. Gabriel stood there, his face pale, filled with anger and disbelief. Seeing Gabriel's pale face at the door, my heart raced, not with fear or regret, but with a deep anger mixed with a twisted sense of justice. He stood there, looking at us with pure indignation and shock, as if he were the victim, as if all his lies and excuses meant nothing. The scene was almost comical, and I felt my lips curl into a cold, satisfied smile. At last, he was feeling the consequences of his own choices, and this was just the beginning. Gabriel stood frozen in the doorway, unable to find the words. Raphael, realizing his brother was there, slowly moved away from me, unsure of what to do or say. But I, unlike him, was done with trying to keep up appearances, done pretending that what Gabriel did didn't affect me. I wore my anger like armor and stood up, facing him directly. "So, this is how it is," he finally managed to murmur, his voice low and full of contempt. "This is what happens when someone plays with another's trust," I responded, keeping my gaze steady, showing no hint of regret. "You never had the courage to be honest with me, never cared about my feelings. It was always about what you wanted, who you could keep around while pushing me aside." Gabriel scoffed, crossing his arms defensively. "And you think that justifies this kind of betrayal? That you can do whatever you want without consequences?" I laughed, a bitter sound that filled the room with a heavy tension. "Betrayal? Gabriel, you destroyed everything long before I ever thought of getting close to Raphael. Do you think I didn't notice your excuses? Your poorly told lies, the way you disregarded my feelings every time I tried to talk about us? Every time I asked you about that friend?" I made air quotes, feeling the indignation build up inside me. It was as if nothing I said mattered, as if I were just some piece you could manipulate and control however you wanted. Gabriel took a step forward, his eyes narrowing, almost glowing with rage. "So, you decided to get revenge? To pay me back in the worst possible way?" "It wasn't about revenge," I replied, my voice firm and clear. "It was about realizing that you never valued me. It was about understanding that I deserved to be treated with respect, something you never knew how to do. While you were busy helping a friend with your pathetic excuses, Raphael was here, showing me what it's like to truly be wanted, valued." Raphael, standing beside me, looked uncomfortable but didn't move. He knew this confrontation was inevitable and that I needed to say everything I had bottled up for so long. Gabriel, however, seemed increasingly out of control, his face twisted with frustration and wounded pride. "You're really selfish, you know that," he spat, his words full of disdain. "All you thought about was yourself, feeding your own ego." My eyes narrowed, my remaining patience finally running out. Selfish? Selfish is spending years by someone's side, pretending to care while you chase after any distraction that comes along, ignoring the person who's been there with you. Selfish is making empty promises, asking for patience when it was clear that you didn't really care. I wasn't being selfish, Gabriel. I was freeing myself from the emotional prison you created around me. He clenched his fists, breathing deeply, visibly struggling to maintain control. For a moment, it looked like he wanted to say something, but he just stared at me, unable to find the words. His arrogance and wounded pride wouldn't allow him to admit any fault, and I realized with painful clarity that he would never change. The silence between us grew heavy, and I could see Raphael shifting nervously beside me. But his reaction didn't matter to me at that moment. What mattered was that I was finally in control, that for the first time, I had broken the chains tying me to Gabriel. "I think it's best if you leave, Gabriel," I declared, my voice now cold and calculated. "We have nothing left to say to each other." He looked at me, incredulous, as if he couldn't believe I was really asking him to leave. He expected me to beg for his forgiveness, to show some kind of regret, but the truth was, in that moment, I felt free, light. All I wanted was to move forward without the weight of someone who never valued me. "This isn't over," he muttered, his voice full of threats as he stepped back. "You're going to regret all of this." I simply watched him walk out, the door closing behind him with a bang that echoed through the house. But instead of feeling afraid, a smile spread across my lips. Because finally, the mask had fallen, and I was free to be who I truly was, without hiding or pretending to please someone who never deserved me. Raphael was still by my side, looking at me with a mixture of concern and respect. Without a word, he pulled me close, embracing me protectively. And as I nestled into his arms, I knew that the chapter with Gabriel was over, that I had overcome a painful part of my life. From that moment on, all I wanted was to focus on myself and my own worth. From that day forward, I promised myself that I would never again allow anyone to underestimate, belittle, or devalue me. Today, my life is in a completely different place, and both Gabriel and Raphael now hold very distinct places in my story. After everything I went through with Gabriel, I finally found the peace and clarity I had been longing for. It was a long process, but I managed to leave behind the weight of that relationship with all its lies and manipulations. Gabriel is now just a life lesson, someone who taught me where my boundaries lie, and that no one should ever be allowed to disrupt my peace and well-being. He's gone on with his life, and I with mine, knowing I deserve much more than he could ever offer. With Raphael, things took a different turn. In the beginning, he was an essential support, someone who offered me comfort when I needed it most. He showed me that I wasn't alone, that there were people who would value me for who I am, and that I could feel free to be myself. But with time, we both realized that our connection was partly built on the wounds and pain left behind by my relationship with Gabriel. What started as a mutual refuge became something more complicated, and we understood that we each needed time to heal. So, we acknowledged that while the bond between us was important, it didn't necessarily mean we were meant to be together. Today, I'm at peace. I'm moving forward with my life, focused on my own dreams and goals. My friendships and career are now a source of joy and fulfillment, and each day, I feel more certain of who I am and what I deserve. Raphael and I remain friends, and I'll always be grateful for the support he gave me. Gabriel, meanwhile, is a closed chapter, a story from which I learned valuable lessons and that I've now left in the past. Finally, I feel in control of my life, building a future that's truly my own, full of possibilities and far removed from anything that once made me doubt myself.